Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall has been touring the United Kingdom, talking to investors about the merits of his province as an investment destination. He joins us now from the London Stock Exchange to talk about the response to that. Good morning, Premier Wall. I think the last time we spoke with you, you were also in London, or certainly the last time I spoke to you. A bit of a different time. I think there was a wedding being planned at that juncture. Let's talk a little bit about Saskatchewan Advantage. In a couple of sentences, tell us what you're talking about, as well as what the response has been so far.
Sure. Well, the elevator pitch has been simply this, that the fastest growing economies in the world today want food security and energy security. And in that world, I like Saskatchewan's chances. I like Canada's chances. You know, we have over 40% of Canada's arable acres in our province. We're prolific producers of pulse crops. 61% of the world's lentil exports come from Saskatchewan, 50% for peas. The numbers are prolific in canola and in durum wheat and in mustard. And of course, 53% of the world's known potash reserves. And so if companies are interested in that industry, in fulfilling what will be a hungrier demand, if I can use that pun for what we have, then they ought to look at investing in the province. The next part of the elevator pitch is energy security, and we have second largest producer of oil in Canada, 20 to 26% of the world's uranium production, and now the market opened up in China because of the work of the Prime Minister. On both fronts, there is a real opportunity in the province. We're also investing in innovation in both of those areas, in crop science, in wheat science, but also in carbon capture and sequestration, in clean coal technology, enhanced oil recovery. So that's basically the very quick elevator pitch. And layered on top of that is a province that has a balanced budget, 44% less general revenue fund debt over the last 4 years. We've paid that off. We're lowering taxes. We commit to make the infrastructure investments to support a growing economy. And, you know, we've got a great story to tell. And I think it's important we take the chance to tell it wherever we can. And the last day and a half, it's been London.
And, Premier, you tell it very well. Saskatchewan has been open for business for the last couple of years. It is driving the economy, the story very well known around the world. But is the province ready for all of that business? I was recently in Regina, house prices going through the roof, a shortage of new homes for young families. It's getting tougher to find a new home. And of course, there are issues with the building of hospitals, immigrant workers, etc. Take us into what the province is doing to prepare for all the business that is likely to end up on your doorstep.
Well, there are challenges that come with growth. There's no question about it. They're much preferred to the challenges that we used to face in the province, which principally was saying goodbye to too many young people as they had to seek their future elsewhere. But they are challenges. And so we've got a $250 million housing plan in place now, a 5-point plan. We campaign on an initiative to help first-time home owners on top of that plan. That's in place. You may see in our budget, which will be a balanced budget, by the way, in a few weeks, you may see some more focus on the housing front. That's the housing issue. It is, it's certainly there, but again, comparatively speaking, prices in the province pretty favorable to other places in the country, though clearly it's a priority for our government. In terms of the labor shortage, that's acute and it's real. You know, there's, I think this morning, 10,000 jobs on saskjobs.ca, a website that catalogs available opportunities. Tomorrow I'll be in Dublin at a job fair with 27 or so Saskatchewan companies that will be offering 275 jobs to people in Ireland who are unfortunately out of work. And we need to better employ First Nations in the province. We need to attract people from other parts of Canada. But we also need, as we did 100 years ago, to bring people from around the world to help deal with the labor shortage. So these are issues, but we are on them. We're also partnering with business, and in the case of housing, with the market, to make sure we're also not getting in the way of progress on either of those fronts.
Premier, is now the right time to start or think about attracting an NHL team? Our colleagues over at TSN breaking a story that Saskatoon and perhaps the province itself getting their ducks in a row, perhaps for the arrival of an NHL team. I'm wondering how big a NHL fan you are and whether there are, in fact, plans in place to bring a team.
Well, obviously, this is very hypothetical and at early stages and sort of the stuff of rumors right now, but I'm pretty biased. I would wonder why the NHL is not already in Canada's greatest province. I think we produce more per capita NHL players than anywhere else in the country. And obviously it's a hotbed of hockey, and junior hockey is, we've got great junior hockey franchises. So I think it's pretty speculative at this point. But like I said, I'm surprised the NHL is not there already.
And,
If Winnipeg can.
Sorry, go ahead, Premier.
I was going to say, if Winnipeg can do it, I like our chances.
And I know I've had my bell rung by a few players in Saskatchewan. Now, what about what the province would need to do this? The size of a stadium, is the province willing to get behind, again, something as important as the building of a new stadium? Would it be in Saskatoon? Would it be in Regina? I know these are hypotheticals, but very important hypotheticals for a lot of Canadian citizens and, of course, people in Saskatchewan.
Well, we're way ahead of ourselves here. I think this is very much speculation at this point. It's very hypothetical. I will just say this, our government has a record of supporting major events in the province. The World Juniors, which were wildly successful, as you'll know, they required some facility upgrades, and we were there to partner with, in that case, the city of Saskatoon to do what was necessary there. We know that in the short term, the status quo is not acceptable for Mosaic Stadium and the Riders, and the province likely has a role to play there. There's a new rink in Moose Jaw because the province plays a role in supporting, again, proposals that come forward. In that case, they're the home of the Moose Jaw Warriors and the WHL, and work's been done in my hometown for the Swift Current Broncos where they play. So, all of that to say this, we always look at reasonable proposals based on a need for recreational infrastructure for those kinds of facilities. But I don't make that comment in the context of this NHL speculation. I think that'd be way ahead of ourselves.
There are a couple of big stories out there, Premier. One is Cameco. We're going to get to that with Areva, but also want to ask you about SNC-Lavalin. They have served Sask Power. They've also been involved with some of the potash producers in the province. Of course, you've heard of the investigation that's going on, the accounting issues. Has that come forward in any discussions you've had with either Sask Power or some of the operators in the province? Any worries about your relationships with SNC-Lavalin as an infrastructure provider in the province?
No, we haven't had any direct conversations yet, though of course any agency of government, in the case of Sask Power, a Crown corporation that's involved with companies, is going to be very diligent in pursuing any concerns at all that there might be, and I'm sure that's happening. You're right. Some of the potash companies, some of them use different consulting firms, certainly, and AMAC's another one. We met with them actually here in London. They have a strong presence in Saskatoon. So SNC-Lavalin is one, but not the only one. And I think every firm is going to be very diligent in getting any questions they have answered as a result of these developments. And
Premier, Cameco today is taking a bigger stake in a very important project, purchasing a holding or a stake in a project that is being run by Areva. I'm curious where Cameco sits in terms of being a corporate citizen for Saskatchewan, and of course your conversations right now that you're having in London and elsewhere.
Well, they're a great corporate citizen. In fact, they're the product of a privatization. In the 80s, as you will know, SMDC, which is a provincial crown, and Eldorado Nuclear, a federal crown, were merged. There was an IPO, and what was born was a new uranium mining company that's become the largest uranium mining company in the world, headquartered in Saskatoon. We're proud of their record as a corporate citizen. In the mines, in the Cameco mines, over 40% of their employees are First Nations or Métis. They're Aboriginal people. They're involved in every facet of the life of the city of Saskatoon and communities across the province, and they're an important economic contributor. And with the Prime Minister's work in China, there's every expectation that over the next decade or so, or maybe less, another $3 billion in sales can happen into that market for civilian use. And so it's not surprising to see Cameco looking at other opportunities in the province. Again, they've been a great corporate citizen, and we expect that to continue.
Premier, thank you very much for joining us this morning. The last time you did not get an invite, if I remember correctly, to the wedding. Did you get some tickets for the Olympics?
No, we didn't get tickets for the Olympics. And the High Commissioner, Gordon Campbell, is a good friend of mine, so we'll have to go back to the High Commissioner and find out what's going on.
You'll have to work.
No tickets.
You'll have to work on that one, sir. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for your time.
Brad Wall, the Premier of Saskatchewan.